No wonder so many people are confused about making bread. I did a simple search on the internet and it gave me like 500 different answers for Italian bread. Well, let me show you my no-fuss way of making a perfect Italian loaf of bread. Welcome to the Salted Pepper, where we cook for real life using real food and we keep it real simple. Today's recipe is a bread recipe, which I know some of you think is complicated and you have to get real technical and weigh out ingredients. Well, let me tell you, you don't. It's a lot easier than that. So just follow along and you can make a beautiful loaf of Italian bread. Now, the first thing to decide is how big do you want your loaf to be? The only difference between this loaf and this loaf is the amount of flour I used. I even used the same amount of yeast, which you don't have to do, but I did just to do an experiment. And the only difference is this is 2 cups of flour and this is 3 cups of flour. So you want to first figure out how many cups of flour you want to use. If you want a smaller loaf like this, use 2. If you want a larger loaf like this, use 3, okay? So that's the first thing. I'm gonna make the bigger loaf, so I've got 3 cups of all-purpose flour in my mixing bowl. You can use bread flour, but for Italian bread, I like a little softer of a crumb. I don't know, I love Italian bread, I love French bread, but my French bread I want to be a little crustier and chewier. I use bread flour. For the Italian, I use all-purpose flour and it just gives me a little softer crumb. But that is totally up to you. Either will work. The only difference when you're using bread flour versus all-purpose flour is you may need a little bit more liquid, okay, which is water in this instance. Now, the big difference between Italian bread and French bread, if you go on the internet, you're gonna get some of the weirdest answers I've ever seen in my life, and they're all over the place. People, one article actually said the difference between French bread and Italian bread is the copious amounts of butter in French bread. Absolutely not. French pastry, yes. French bread is a lean bread. There is no fat in French bread at all. And that is one of the big differences between French and Italian bread is Italian bread's gonna use a little bit of olive oil and sometimes milk. And sometimes you also add in herbs and different things like that. Now we're just making a plain bread, but we are gonna use 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're also gonna use 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. Now you really only need 2 teaspoons of instant yeast, but the little packets are 2 1/4 teaspoons. So if you're getting the packet, you can just use the whole thing. It's perfectly fine. So 2 to 2 1/4 teaspoons of instant yeast, get the same result, okay? 1 teaspoon of fine grind sea salt or kosher salt, and then warm water, amount to be determined, okay? You are gonna use at least 3/4 of a cup. We're probably gonna use closer to a cup, but I'm gonna show you how you determine how much water your dough needs without any scales or anything like that, okay? We don't need to get fancy and real specific when we're making bread at home for our families. This should be fun and not stressful at all. Okay. I do recommend a KitchenAid mixer. You can do it by hand. I have plenty of videos showing you how to knead dough by hand. That does not change based on what kind of dough you're making, you know, bread dough. But for this, I'm gonna use my KitchenAid because it makes it so much easier. All right, straight in. The yeast is gonna go right in the bowl. Then I'm gonna put in the olive oil. That's 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And we're gonna just give that a little mix up on the low setting, which is stir. While that's mixing, I'm gonna add in the salt. And then we're gonna add in 3/4 of a cup of warm water. This water is about 104 degrees. Now we're not proofing the yeast because we're using instant yeast, but if you needed to proof your yeast because you're using active dry, you could do that with the warm water before you even start this process. Just put your yeast in a bowl, put a little bit of warm water in there, stir it up, let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes until it gets frothy. But instant yeast goes right in. 3/4 of a cup. Or thereabouts. That's about what I put in there. Now let the mixer just mix the flour. It will start to be real wet in the center and then it's gonna pull the flour from the outer edges and incorporate the flour and the water together to form our dough ball. One mistake I see a lot of people make is that they're really fast to add more liquid. It's gonna take a little bit of time for the flour to absorb the liquid, so don't rush this, okay? Let it mix for a few minutes before we add any more. All right, that's probably been about a minute to 2 minutes, not very long at all. And it pulled a lot of the flour, but I can see it's still a little bit dry. I still have about 1/3 of a cup of warm water in here. So I'm gonna take it down to that 1/4 of a cup mark. So that means we put in 1 cup of water. That looks good. Okay, so most of the flour's been pulled off the side of the bowl, and now it's kind of lumped on the side. It's not really forming a dough ball. It's still a little bit dry. This is when you add just a touch of water, a teaspoon, okay? Really, just a touch. And we'll keep adding until the dough says, I'm good. Okay, now it's time to test the stickiness or tackiness of the dough. We still haven't kneaded it, so it's gonna look a little bit lumpy, but we do want to feel it. Now, I can feel that it has some hydration on the outside that probably still will need to be absorbed by the flour. So I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm not adding any more water at this point. I'm gonna let it knead for a few minutes on number 2 on my setting. Okay, now we've kind of separated a little bit here, but that's okay. All right, that feels a little bit drier, and I think it's a little bit drier than I would want it. Would this work? Absolutely. I would just knead it for about 2 or 3 more minutes, but I'm gonna add just 1 more teaspoon of water. I usually add just a touch extra at the end. I call it washing the bowl, and just about a teaspoon, really not a lot at all. And I added it right down into the bowl. And now we're gonna go on 2 again for about 2 to 3 minutes. And then we will get our dough into the combi for the first proof. All right, this feels absolutely perfect. It is a nice feeling dough. It's not even as tacky as some other bread doughs that I make. It definitely does not stick to your hands, okay? So that is how we want the hydration. Then I just form it into a little ball and spritz with a little bit of olive oil here. Put the dough ball down, spritz the top a little bit with olive oil. And then I'm gonna proof it in the Ninja Combi at 95 degrees Fahrenheit for 45 minutes. That will allow this dough ball to double in size, then we can shape our loaf. If you aren't gonna use the Ninja Combi, because you don't need to use the Ninja Combi to proof the dough, you don't need to use the Ninja Combi to cook the bread either. I just happen to love the outcome. You can use your regular oven. Now, if you're gonna proof this at room temperature, make sure you get a mixing bowl that is deep enough to allow the dough to double in size, and you can cover it with some saran wrap. So if you're using your mixer, you can actually clean out this bowl, or you don't even really have to, and just put the dough in the bottom and cover the top with saran wrap, and that'll work fine. And then place it in a warm place in your kitchen and let it double in size. And that can take anywhere from an hour to 90 minutes. It really depends on the temperature in your house. That's why I like using the Combi for this, because it's very controlled, and I know it takes 45 minutes. All done with the first proof, and it has definitely doubled in size. Now you just take your dough ball right out. We'll put that pan to the side. You don't even need to worry about cleaning that pan. I'm gonna use it in just a minute. Then what I like to do is flip it over and smooth it out a little bit here. No flour on the cutting board or your work surface. And the reason for that is we want to create some tension on the top of the loaf when we start to form it, and flour will just get in the way of that. So it is not too sticky. It's not going to stick or anything like that to your surface. So just kind of spread it out. You want it to be about 10 inches in length. And then when we go to proof it for the second time, you want the loaf shape to be about 10 inches by 3 inches. For the Ninja Combi, now you can make it longer and thinner if you're doing it in the oven, but for the space we have in the Ninja Combi, this is a good size. All right, so press that out like that, then flip it over, and now roll it towards the center, pick up the outer edge, roll it, and push it down. We're creating that tension there by pushing it and then kind of seaming it together by pressing right there. All right, now I'm gonna flip it over. You don't have to do that. I'm doing that just for the camera here. And then we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna pull this over to form the little loaf. All right. And then we are gonna do what I've heard to be called stitching, okay? I don't usually call it that, but I have heard that. What I call it is pressing the seams together. You know, I'm not fancy, but hey, let's stitch our bread. Okay, here we go. So just take your fingers and just push it together like this. You just want to get the seam to be combined with the other side so that it doesn't start to fall apart as it proofs again. That's the whole purpose of that. And it also, if you're pulling it together like this, it's also creating a little bit of tension. So that's going to help with the rise. All right, that looks good. Now we're going to put it onto the rack with a little bit of parchment paper. But with the Combi, I like to go right from the second proof directly into the Combi crisp, which is what's going to bake our bread. So I take the inner pan that we proofed in, and I put the water in right now, which is 1/2 cup for this recipe. That's just plain tap water. Then we will set this rack with the parchment right in the pan here. And then flip our loaf over. We've got a nice smooth top. And then pick it up and put it right there. And you want to do it diagonal so that you have enough room for it to expand. What's going to happen is if it expands all the way, or when it expands all the way to these corners, it will not expand anymore that way. It will start to expand this way as it proofs. And that's how you're going to get that lovely Italian bread shape in this pan. All right, let's go ahead and do the second proof. Same exact process, same exact time. It looks beautiful. All right, the last step that I want to do before I bake it is to score it. Now, it's not the end of the world if you don't have anything to score it with, okay? And I've tried a million different things. I've gotten bread lames and all kinds of, fancy equipment, and honestly, just a cheap, clean, new razor blade seems to work the best for me. So I'm going to make about 4 slits, nothing fancy, on the top of this. And to do that, I like to sort of gently hold the bread right here as I make the slit. I find that you don't want to press down too much. You don't want to deflate the proofing of the bread. But I find if I hold, I just get a nice clean line. You want to go about 1/2 inch into the dough, and you want to do it without hesitation, okay? Because we want a nice clean line. What this does is allow the baking and the steam to kind of come up so that our bread actually rises a little bit more during the baking process and rises up, and it's got a place for all that steam to release. All right, now the next thing I'm gonna do, which I know is kind of strange, but I'm gonna take my razor blade and I'm gonna cut some of this parchment paper. The reason being is that during the Combi Crisp time, the fan will blow and it will blow your parchment up around your bread, and that impedes the browning process. So I just take the same razor blade and just go down kind of close to the bread and then just tear it off like that and do the same thing on the other side. That's perfect. All right, we already have the 1/2 cup of water in the bottom, so I'm gonna put this back in the Combi. We're gonna use Combi Crisp. Don't be tempted to use Combi Bake, okay? It steams way too long. It's a 20-minute steam on Combi Bake. We only need the short 5-minute steam for this bread. So make sure your lever is up there, and then we select the correct Combi Crisp. We want to set our temperature down to 350, our time to 25 minutes, and hit start. Now it's gonna preheat, and that takes about 5 minutes. That's when all the steam is produced. That's when the water starts to boil underneath and produces the steam. And then after it switches over to the dry cooking method at 350 degrees, you're still gonna see some steam coming out for probably another 5 to 10 minutes. And then everything will clear up and will be under a dry environment. And that's super important for the steam to start and then end, and then we'll crisp up our bread. We have just over 5 minutes on our 25-minute timer, and usually about this time I will pull the parchment. You don't really need to flip the bread over, but I do sometimes remove the parchment. Sometimes I don't if I'm not around when it's cooking, but since I'm here, I'm gonna pull the parchment out from underneath. So just open up the door. You don't have to do anything with the bread at this point, and just go in and pull that parchment out. Okay, that's just gonna help crisp up the bottom a little bit more, and then we will finish out the 5-minute cook. Oh my gosh, that looks beautiful. Now, you could do one or two things. You can leave it right in the pan and put it on a cooling rack, or you can remove the bread like I do and put it on a cooling rack. Now, it is very crispy right now. That it will soften up, okay? Italian bread usually isn't as crunchy as a French bread, so it's gonna soften up a little bit, but it is gorgeous. And let's look at that bottom. Oh, that's so perfect. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. All right, so let's let it cool, and then we will cut into it and put a little butter on it and give it a taste. So I let it cool for about 20 minutes, and it's still a little warm to the touch, but that's gonna be great if you're serving it right away for dinner. If you wanna package it up and serve it the next day, let it cool completely and then wrap it in some plastic wrap or put it into a plastic bag and leave it on your counter, okay? It will be good at room temperature for a couple of days. If you wanna store it longer, throw it in the refrigerator. Remember, there's no preservatives in here, so it does not last as long as some other store-bought bread. All right, let's go for it. No matter how many times you make a bread recipe, you always are waiting to cut into it to see, did it work out the way you wanted to? And yes, oh my gosh, that looks amazing. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited about this. I love fresh bread. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. Oh, it's nice and soft, still a little warm with a little bit of a crunchy crust still. Oh my gosh. That will soften up though. I don't want anyone to think that it's gonna stay crunchy. It doesn't, but you can pop it right back into the Combi or into the oven for a few minutes, and you can crisp it back up if you want to. All right, let's put some butter on this and give it a taste. Oh my goodness. Wow. It is so delicious. It is the perfect texture. And it is not hard to make. So do my no fuss Italian bread in the combi or in the oven. If you need the oven directions, I will have them on my website, thesaltedpepper.com. Enjoy.